Anton Torres. I work for Fantasy Flight Games. So this is exciting to see the expo, and in this case, to show off something that I've grown to love kind of on its home turf. So this is a Forbidden Stars. It is a 2 to 4 player game that is a heavy strategy game. It is a juicy, deep experience. It's for 2 players, you can play it in an hour if you know how to play and you're quick about it. But for 4 players who know, you're looking at 3 to 4 hours. Okay, there is a round limit at the game. There's a maximum of 8 rounds. But once you know, it isn't going to run 8 rounds.
Yeah, 2 to 4 hours for people who know how to play.
Yes.
So this is Twilight Imperium 2, basically.
Well, Twilight has a lot more. When you see the goal of the game is to regain objectives that are scattered about the map. But what this is a satisfying heavy strategy game. This is not a light game. So let's go some basics. You each have a faction sheet in front of you. I have preset a map. Normally the map would be built by the group, 1 tile at a time. So two players would play on a 2 by 3 on a 6 tile board. And the units that you have in play at start would be distributed by your choice. But I've kind of set them up just to get you started. You have many cards in front of you. What I'd like to show you before we jump in is this. There's a deck of 10 cards, which have your, that is for you. Correct, so flip those over and give a look. This is the combat deck. And before I start, I just want to show you the very basics of combat, so you have some sense when you jump in. I'm going to give you each a set of dice. Set of dice. Set of dice. Alright.
Yeah, I know. I think
They are really nice. They are really nice.
Dice,
The Aquila. Awesome.
Okay. So, to keep those handy, I'm going to tell you the 4 orders that you can give every round, and the last will involve combat. So, in front of you, you have 4 sets of tokens that are white on black. Okay, 4 icons. In this game, on each round, you begin by placing orders on these tiles. Each tile is a system, and each system has 4 areas. Okay? You'll see there's a hexagon, and it is on that hexagon you will place your orders face down. And you'll do this one at a time until you have placed 4 orders each, and then one by one, starting with the first player, and in this case, you're the first player, you're going to choose one of your available orders, reveal it, and resolve.
Okay.
Okay, so let's look at the 4 orders in front of you. We'll start with deploy. Looks like a factory with an arrow. Okay, that's how you build your troops. And I've already placed on the board, you have 1 factory each. Okay, so there's 1 system with a factory. That factory can produce new units. You spend a resource called materiel, which is on this dial. Okay. That dial is just how you keep track of the currency. You should all have 6 to start. And your faction sheet lists all of the units and structures available to you. And there's a number in green. If you look, that is the cost for each unit. So at the top you'll have a city that costs 3, and there's a bastion that costs 2. You see that? All right. Also on that faction sheet, you have all the other statistics for your unit. So for example, let's look at, for you, the scouts, and for you, the aspect warriors, for you, cultists, and for you, you have orc boys. Look on your faction sheet. You'll see the names of units above, right? The names of each of your units. You see that?
Yep.
All right. Now going across, we've got information. So we have the cost, which is a number with a gear. Okay, that's the cost in material. And then there's a blue number, a blue diamond with a number. That's the number of dice you would roll in combat. All right?
Yep.
Next, there's a red skull. That's the amount of damage that it takes to destroy that particular unit. And last, we have an Aquila. That is the morale. Morale at the end of a round of combat, that's that's who is the victor. The more morale would win the combat. All right.
Yep.
So, for the unit I named, why don't you tell me how many dice? Why don't you take that many dice? So for you, Scout,
Scout.
Aspect Warrior, Cultist. All right. Great. So, why don't you roll the die? Let's just imagine if you had entered combat, you would roll the dice for all of the units in play. And now set those results aside. You'll see, so you have bolters, which are offense, shields are defense, and the Aquila is morale. That actually adds to the morale of the battle. Now, shuffle your combat deck and draw half. This might seem strange that I'm telling you this in advance. I just want you to see the mechanic, and then when we actually go through orders, we'll be ready. So, you're not going to be fighting each other now. This is just in the abstract. So
How many are we drawing?
Half the deck, so 5. Right, now you look at this hand, and in combat, you will have a maximum of 3 cards played. Every card that is played is going to contribute the icons that you see in the left border to the results that you already have. Right, so you're actually building a pool of these icons. Every time a card is played, it also triggers the very first item down on the bottom of the card. So why don't you all select and put face down one card. Let's just dive right in. All right, so face down, and let's reveal. One at a time. Let's see, Ultramarines, what do you got?
So, we've got a bit of ambush going on.
Great, so an ambush. This contributes a bolter to the pool, but it says gain 2, and it has a bolter in a circle.
Yep.
So there are temporary results. The dice are permanent through the combat. The round icons are temporary. So now you've generated 4 bolters for this round.
Yep.
And then at the bottom is a result that will trigger if that unit type is present. So for this, if he's got a scout or a strike cruiser, there's another special effect. And it's balancing those choices. When you play your cards, you want to try and use cards that are going to exploit who's in the battle.
Yep.
All right, so what card do you have?
Well, I put Ranger support.
Great. So, Ranger support. This now contributes a shield and an Aquila.
But also, if I'm attacking, I gain an extra bolter and an extra defense dice.
Great, nice. So when he's attacking, when you're attacking, that's Rangers in the back lines, contributing both a bolter and a shield token, which will last for 1 round. What do you have?
Impure Zeal.
Excellent.
Bolter, shield, you can have more colours, and your opponent running one of your units.
Great. So when units are in combat, over time they will, if they're damaged, they rout. That card, if you have more Aquilas, if you're generating more morale, more zeal, you're going to be able to rally one of your units, which is fantastic because then they can continue to contribute to that battle. And then at the bottom again, you have this special effect that would trigger if you had cultists or iconoclasts. Okay. And what do you have?
I have Hard Boys.
Odd boys. You must re-roll all of your bolters. Whoa.
Oh no.
That's another bolter. So orcs have very chaotic cards. Sometimes it's like you and your opponent re-roll all your dice. And you're like, what? Sometimes it works really well. Other times it's horrific.
They're getting ready to do a war.
Absolutely. But see, this is very defensive.
Yeah.
So this now contributes right to your pool. And you would do this. Then you would both apply damage to each other simultaneously. Shield, block, bolters. Damaged units are routed, but if it's enough damage, if it meets or exceeds the damage value, they'd be destroyed. If there's plastic remaining, you would play a second card, and that card would add to the pool. The tokens go away, but the pool now grows. 3 rounds of that.
So I'd get that and that, yeah.
Right, and you would then, in that case, you would then add. So that's very abstract. I just want you to see it, because now we're going to have you place orders.
Okay.
You okay with this?
With this one here, is that gain an extra dice?
That's gain an extra dice. You would actually gain a die, you would roll it, and that would be added to your pool. Okay?
Yeah, because I wasn't sure which one best to play first, that or that, but I think that's what you'd say to play.
So that's what you get to explore in the game, right? So you can take those cards back, shuffle back into your combat deck. So, core of the game, we have the orders. These 4 orders. Deploy, and you have a cheat card. You have a reference card that will describe this as well. So, deploy. Deploy in an active system, okay, will allow you to build units if you have a factory in that system. You spend material. The second is strategize. It has a picture of 2 cards. This is the way that you customize your combat deck. Actually spend material not to buy new units, but to customize your combat deck with your faction-specific cards. I don't have these out because you haven't even seen combat, but all of the results are different. The special triggers are different. You can take a more aggressive approach if you look for cards that have a lot of bolters. You can take a more defensive approach if you want, and you swap out from your original decks. You actually custom tailor your strategy every game.
Does this cover all factions within the 40k universe at the moment, or is there only a few?
We only have 4.
Right, okay.
4 in the box. The other thing that I did leave in front of you are these cards. You can, when you strategize, you can upgrade the orders that you give. So as you learn what your orders do, realize each faction can actually change fundamentally what each order is capable of. And again, that's different for each faction. Ooh. Right? And
No, seriously.
they're very good. And a lot of maybe out of context.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
But they're all unique. These are the factions.
Yeah, that's right. Just remember that. Right, so resolve combat, and then I get to orbital strike.
Then you get to overlay.
I'm over to up you on that one.
So those are upgrades for units, these are upgrades for orders.
Those are upgrades for orders, and that's what the strategize order does. It allows you to spend material, that resource, to customize your cards.
Yep.
All right. Next, we have this symbol, which looks like almost like an Aquila. This is dominate. Dominate is about gaining the resources from resource tokens from planets you control. So, for example, if you have the order in this system and you dominate, you look at planets you control, and this is a planet, this is an area you control, and you're looking for this red seal. Okay?
So that would get 2 materials.
That actually, these are tokens. So you would gain this token. This is called cash. This is worth 2 material. So you can spend that later. And then that's a wild card. The other resources are the flag. This is reinforcements, which helps you in combat. You assign damage to them first. And the forge token, which you will see on some of these worlds. That's how you build your stronger units.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So that's dominate. Yep. And actually down here, they're actually 5 material and the forge token. You see, for the most expensive units, you have to spend a forge token in addition.
So really is that you need forge token?
That's command level, and I will tell you that later. The last thing that dominate does is in the center of your faction card.
Yep.
So each faction, when they resolve a dominate order, has one special action they can take. So why don't you read that? You can see, which is very centered. It says, after you resolve a dominate order, do this thing.
Oh, I got one. It's for the Emperor. When you resolve a dominate order, you may spend 1 material to either replace 1 scout in the active system with 1 free space marine, which is nice.
Yep.
Or replace 1 space marine in the system for a land raider. Oh yeah.
Your units are for 1 material every turn. Upgrade. Every dominate order.
Well, dominate for me, it's webway portals. When I resolve a dominate order, I'm going to take one of my units from one world in the active system and place it on another world in another friendly world.
Oh.
So, for example, if you had a scout, an aspect warrior there, you could dominate here and send 1 unit to a friendly system using the webway. Right? Only the Eldar can do that. And the orcs.
Yeah, Evil Sun's Clan, Orc Spores. When you resolve a dominant order, you may purchase 1 unit and place it on a friendly world in the active system.
So, out of turn, without building something, you can dominate and then build a unit in that system.
I get to take 1 card approaches from the action system and place it on a friendly or uncontrolled world in an adjacent system.
So you could dominate in the active system and just move it. So you're spreading your chaotic nastiness, and heretics are rising in adjacent systems, which is awesome.
I know. Always crash the parties.
Alright, so that's dominate. Last but not least, we have advance. Advance is how you move, and if you end your movement sharing an area with your opponent, then you will have a combat. And that's when the dice and the cards will come into play. What is important with advance is it is always in the destination tile. Right? So the arrows point so if you want to move here, your advance order, then you move, and I will show you, let's imagine here. Eldar, you're going to advance. So you choose one adjacent tile, say this one. First you look at the ships. On the board, you see planets, areas with planets, and areas that are empty. Those are voids. If it's on a flight stand, it will only ever be in a void. If it's not on a flight stand, it will only ever be on a planet. So, the first thing is, when you advance, do you want to move your ships? Sure, you can lift them up and you can put them on any of the voids in the destination, because ships are very nimble. Next, do you want to move any units? If the answer is yes, they need a path of friendly areas to get to the destination. So this would not allow me to move.
But you think if that was there, you could...
Right? They are, the ships are bridges.
Oh, so you could even go to there, yeah?
Well, I can't because this is not friendly.
Yeah.
So I can come from this tile to the destination.
Yeah.
In the future, if this were an order, I could move here. There's a legal path. Right? So your units will act as bridges, and all movement and adjacency is orthogonal. There is no diagonal adjacency in this game.
You can move through. If you had a path going from there to there, you could move.
Good question. You cannot, because when you place your orders, it is either in a system. Tile is a system. It is either in a system in which you have units, or a system adjacent. And when you activate, you will only move from an adjacent tile.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, an adjacent system. So this is not adjacent. But from here, I could move legal path to there.
Yeah.
Or legal path. You had a unit there, for example. I know you could.
I can't because it's not adjacent.
I'm sorry, it has to be
the destination.
Okay.
So you're slowly moving.
Creeping across.
There's only you move from has to be adjacent to
Yes.
you're going to.
All right.
Well, that's where this creeps in.
For you, yeah,
That's where the web quote does break. Breaks insane because I can dominate here, and if I've got somebody over here standing, I can just go over there.
all right. So I think I've spoken enough.
I think that was there.
Excellent. So go. Excellent. So normally, when you build the map, you would be distributed in multiple places. You do not start in the corner. That's one thing I like. This is a game where you show up in the middle of an epic story, and you essentially bring it to its conclusion. There's a lot of tension. The last thing I will point out before you, and then we'll do it one round, are these purple items. Anyone have a guess? Warp storms. Warp storms are placed at the start of the game. Each player places one on the board. You cannot move through a warp storm. But at the end of the round, every single warp storm will move. And each player gets to move exactly one. So I was asked once, well, is this legal at the start of a game? And I said, yes it is. And let's imagine that's what it was. And someone said, that's horrible. I said, no, because if this were me, do you know what I would be doing this round? Building, developing, getting ready, taking a shower, right? Because the next round, they are sure to move, and you're going to just flood out. So this is a very interesting way that you get to block your opponent or control who has access, but for one round.
assume when you're moving, you can't just go over there. You have to put it on adjacent.
There's actually, there's a deck of cards that give you benefits, but on the side it also tells you if you rotate or slide it. So you have a little bit of choice, and you can look through that deck. You'll see it's either clockwise, counterclockwise, or moving horizontal. It's a lot of fun. But then you, for example, you have an upgrade that lets you move through warp storms. You know, because right out of the warp, here comes the hordes of chaos. All right. Let's play around. Let me just stop talking. Pick up all your order tokens, which are the hexes. There are 2 of each. And just what we're going to do, starting with Space Marines, you're going to place one at a time a total of 4 orders. And then we're going to resolve them. I guarantee there's going to be some combat somewhere.
I need my range back on. That might be useful.
Sorry.
That's fine.
So, if you have questions, let me know. This is a demo. Be brave, be foolish.
I'll be one of them. Yeah.
Great. So that's first Eldar. So you might. These can be hidden. Not important, but they certainly don't want to let on.
Yeah. That's good point.
Now orders can stack. That's the other thing I didn't tell you. You can stack orders on top of other tokens, even if they are not your own. And we will resolve top down. So, Chaos. So, Orc, please. Place your first order. Excellent. Marines.
Very nice.
Eldar.
I'm looking at.
Orders, it must be a me.
Just go in the tank over there. Leave me alone. Look at these normal things.
Excellent. Great.
Yeah. You were looking at me when we found that.
I don't know if you put the last action token there. I was on first there.
How do you know? It's part of my plan.
I assume you can't find the demonstrate the game in the same zone.
I'm sorry?
You can't put multiple your own orders in the same zone. In the same system.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
They will. The only detail is they will resolve top down. So if you want,
I did do that the right way around.
Yeah, I probably messed that up.
Sorry?
I think I probably messed that up.
it's a quick demo.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah. It's a quick demo.
It makes for a better demo when things are out of order.
Carnage happens.
Oh,
Yeah.
Excellent.
Right, we'll go for another one there.
Great. And this is the 4th for each of you. This is
And
your
you know
last
what?
order.
I think I tried that to see
Fantastic.
what happened.
All right. Your last order. Excellent. Orcon, last order.
You pop that on top of it.
Excellent.
Wow.
So, every round has the orders placed. That's the first step.
Yep.
And second step, starting with first player. Do you have an order token on the top of any stack?
Yes, I have there.
Choose one and reveal and resolve.
I will do that.
Dominate.
So I'm dominating.
In the active system, do you control any planets? You control this. So you get the red seal. So you gain 2 reinforcement tokens and just keep them in your area.
And I can use my for the Emperor ability.
Yes, and the second thing,
I can upgrade one of these guys
for one material.
from one material to that, and I've done that.
So that's a bunker.
This is a scout, and he's upgraded to a marine.
Marine, and then Marine to upgrade.
And then the Marines are land walker, yeah.
All right, excellent. Go ahead and
Why do you think he's dominated twice there?
regain. Go ahead and recover your token. Next, Eldar, choose one.
Well, I was going to deploy.
All right, deploy. So, look in that area. And how much material do you have?
Well, I have 6 material.
Okay, so one thing, because it's a demo, even though I talked a lot at the start, there's a lot I haven't mentioned. When you build or when you deploy, look at your faction sheet and notice at the far left, there's a yellow-orange icon. With a number, the shoulder pad, right?
Yep.
That's your command level. That is what will allow you to build units. So you are all currently at command level 0.
Right.
Cities are one of the items you can build. Each city you build is going to increase your command level by 1. So you can only build command level 0 units. But if you were to build a city, the next round you can start building a higher level.
If I was building a city, I have to do it there at this point.
When you build into the system.
Yeah.
So what would you like to build? Units?
Yeah, I was going to build.
Excellent.
I was going to build just an
aspect warrior. Excellent.
I think it down by 2, and that would.
And you could deploy that anywhere in the active system in a friendly or empty space. So you could actually put it there if you wanted to, or in the same area.
Actually, I will put it there.
Perfect. Anything else?
I can build.
Yeah, if you have the material to spend, you can build multiple items.
You know what? I'm going to risk it, and I'll build a city.
A city. So structures are always built last. So you build all the units first, and then you build your. So you can't build a factory and immediately start popping out units. So the city, and there's only one structure per area. So you want to put it here and mark it with your token. These are just markers. Excellent. Anything else?
I've got 1 material left and everything costs 2 to buy, so I've got.
Go ahead and recover your token. Chaos. So what's interesting, you only have that available. So for a moment, you have an order there, but it's underneath order. And so you can't resolve these until they clear. Okay, so dominate. Do you control planets? And what do you gain?
1 hammer.
Okay, so 1 forge token.
Which I was going to be able to time with, but then I didn't realise you had command unit tokens.
So here's what's good about forge tokens. Not only do you use them for the big units, but when you deploy, you can spend that to temporarily reduce the command level by 1. So you can spend a forge token and actually build the chaos 3. That's another benefit. All right, so recover your order. Orcs, choose 1. Deploy. So, we look at this system, and there's no factory in it. And so we are not able to build units. Now, if you had a friendly planet, you could choose, if you had a unit in a planet, you could actually build a factory and make use of it later. Unfortunately, we don't. Oh, I'm sorry, you're orcs. What am I talking about? You do. So,
Hey, they are me, right?
they are. I'm looking at red.
Hallucinating them.
I'm hallucinating.
It has been a long couple of days for me, so.
So I apologize. So you cannot build units, but you can build a structure, whether it's a new factory or a city or a bastion.
Okay, depending, so I've got 6 to
Okay.
spend.
And only 1 structure per planet.
Build a factory that's like churning out.
Yeah, orcs work better in numbers.
Yeah.
From experience, they're pretty stupid though. I'll go for a factory, so I pay 2.
Okay. Factory out. Yep, and then you have a square token underneath to mark it. Because if an enemy takes over that planet, they will gain the structure.
Right, okay.
All right, and go ahead and recover your token. Next.
Okay, we'll do this over here.
Deploy.
Deploy.
It wasn't to dominate.
I'm going to build a city.
Excellent.
Which will cost me.
Mark it with Oh, yes. And for you?
You can sit over here at this point, and
Dominate. So you will gain 1 cash. That is worth 2 material when you spend it. And the second is, that is a wild. So you can choose any one of these 3 items.
I'll take a reinforcement.
Reinforcement. Excellent.
What's
The skulls?
Yeah.
The skulls are the unit capacity of the planet. For the demo, I don't worry because it's not essential.
So is that for each player or total?
Well, only one player would ever control a planet.
Right, I see.
When combat occurs, you can advance beyond the limit. The combat will finish, and then whoever's surviving has to kill down to that level. So that's
If I move this person over to here, instead of got a factory, is that still a friendly planet for me?
absolutely, you control this planet.
Cool, so I'll do that then.
Absolutely. So that's the dominate order for Eldar. For you. Lloyd.
So I can build units which I can build into the sector.
So in the system, yes.
Right, okay, so
You can, in the system though, you can build and deploy into friendly or empty planets. Or ships into the empty void.
right, okay. And when you make the movement path,
Yeah.
you can move from planet to planet to planet, space planet. You don't need a spaceship.
Yes, you're correct.
Right, okay.
The only issue is you would move from one adjacent into another. But yes, if you could move 1, 2, 3 over ship into there. If you had friendly ship.
Okay. Okay, cool, that's fine. So I'll build,
Kind of create a trail.
Yes, you do.
because I'll use that to
Yes. So he spent the forge token to reduce the command level requirement.
that cost me 3, and then I'll build a city as well on that planet for 3.
Beautiful. Orcs. Porky orcs.
What's going on over here?
Advance. Excellent. So you can choose to move from here or from here. So only move from one adjacent system.
What would be the strategical benefit from moving either
I'm
of
just
those?
going to answer in his place. Bearing in mind it's orcs, I think the strategical benefit.
Yeah, that kind of is
Sorry, what's this strategy you speak of? Is she really an orc?
Someone's got strategy.
Yeah, the same strategy as the old brick.
run that way.
I would say,
Yeah, I was going to move these.
yeah, they're further away from the enemy, less risk of losing your factory.
Yeah, okay. So would I then move these into, because they're like ground, I'm guessing I'd move them to here?
Well, you can move into there if you want to.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
From one-
Let's do it.
Now the other option with advance is you can move troops within that system. So this could relocate. So you would move these first and then you can relocate if you chose to. Just saying.
Right, can I do then? Can I move him here?
Yes.
Oh,
Excellent.
one-on-one.
Why would you do
So,
that?
the movement has ended, the advance has ended, you share a space, an area with an enemy, combat immediately occurs.
Mono on mono.
So,
So can I take that back then?
you can take that back.
Excellent.
The first question is, look at your faction sheet. How many dice does each of those roll?
Well, you maybe
Go
outgunned
ahead.
over here.
Roll the
It's
dice.
not just the boys and knobs either, so it's going to be like hardcore. Watch me lose that. Oh, you got 3.
And then just line them up so you are clear.
That was nice.
Excellent. So 1 bolter, 2 shields. Bolter is offense. Shield is defense. Now shuffle your combat deck. Deck of 10 cards. Shuffle. Draw half.
Nice.
Thanks.
There's orcs I'm good at carrying stuff.
Look at those cards. Now what will happen is you will each need to choose one, select one card, put it face down, and then the attacker will reveal first. Those cards cards, again, will contribute the icons on the left to this pool, and then the special abilities at the bottom, the green will trigger automatically, the tan will trigger if you have a unit of that type.
Okay.
And then we'll apply damage. If you both survive, we'll do this again. We'll do this a third time and it's done. Once you know the cards, combat is quite quick. I mean, you only have 5 cards in your hand. It's just 2 copies of each.
So we should put the cards out. What happens with those? Do they go back?
You shuffle back to the 10.
Oh, you shuffle. These cards you spent, and cards you didn't spend, shuffle those back in and draw back to 10.
Yeah, so you start with 10, and in combat, you'll have a half in your hand, so 5 cards. And after 3 rounds, you'll use a maximum of 3, but at the end of combat, you just put back in and shuffle. And
then you can obviously add to that deck.
You will replace.
So you put one in and you take one out.
Take the pairs.
Yeah.
Right? So the matching pair.
So you take a set and take one set out.
Remove a pair. So you do have control. Okay, so
Slightly intimidated how long it took you to pick that card.
attacker, reveal first.
What we got?
So go for it. Ta-da! Great.
Mr. Bun the Baker. No.
Mech boys, what's the first thing that happens?
I'm guessing game 1 dice.
Game 1 die. So take the die and roll it, and add it to your.
It's what I went for.
Oh, excellent. So that gets added to your results. And the tan ability, what's that say?
Okay, so Orc Boys / Onslaught. Your opponent discards the top card of his combat deck. You gain that card's combat icons until the end of this execution round.
Oh, that sounds quite nasty.
I can't remember what it is.
Execution.
Oh, wait, is it the deck or by hand?
Deck.
Yeah.
So flip that over. Each card play is called an execution.
So I get, what's that? So one Aquila. So what's that? Morale.
That's morale, but not all that effective. That's just for this round.
Okay.
So your card, leave it out. Great. So you have now a total of 2 bolters and 2 Aquila and 1 shield. You'll reveal. All right.
And I can swap 1 bolted dice for 3 bolted tokens.
3 bolted tokens. So the tokens will last just this execution. So it's temporary, but you might kill them off.
That's pretty
But that
effective.
goes away.
You have to get away. And then what about on the bottom?
And then you choose 1. You have to root 1 unit or spend 1 defense token.
So
Loot, did you say? Or remove?
route. So
Oh, loot.
Routing you.
Oh.
I'm not sure what route means just yet.
So, that's a I apologize. So, in the game, units are either fully healthy.
Oh, is it? Oh, root. Oh, is it? This is an English.
I say route.
Yeah. So it's like root to router, yeah.
I apologize. How should I pronounce it? I think it's route. Route is good. Okay.
In that context, just those orcs can't speak proper, like, can they?
I can't read. That don't read.
So, fully healthy,
Say round, it's like,
routed, or dead.
we don't round.
A routed unit does not contribute morale at the end, and no longer triggers special effects on cards.
Okay, well, that's not going to be an option for me, so I'll spend defense.
So go ahead and get rid of that defense die.
That was a good
Great. So now,
I had no idea. I just thought, well,
As if it was like predetermined almost.
well, I have no other cards that help them. The only thing that it does me, the other cards, is to put a cultist on another unoccupied planet. And there's not many planets in this system, and you're on another one. So
there you go. So now what we do at this execution, now you apply damage to each other. So we'll start with the attacker. How many total bolters? 2. How many defense? 2.
So he negates them.
Negates the damage. How many damage coming in? 3. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many shields? 0. How much damage does it take?
He takes 2.
So it's the red skull.
Oh, 4, sorry, 4. Looking at the wrong symbol, 4.
4. And you cost 4?
Yeah, so that's...
Destroyed.
So it's equal or greater.
And so that is out.
when I saw that defense dice went for that, I'm like, well, he's pretty much killed that.
These
She
go
came to my house.
at the end
the t-shirt saved with the orcs.
At the end of the execution, those reset. We look, are there any enemy units in there any longer? No. It's over. Recover your cards, and you can give, yep.
So does that go back into your
10.
Your combat deck?
Yep, no, same deck, yep.
All right, so you're always shuffling and drawing. Okay, fine.
So that's why choosing, if we were playing with this upgrades, that's why choosing which cards are in that deck matters.
Yeah.
You have
Kind of like theory to
absolutely,
your game style.
absolutely, yeah. All right. So that was combat in a nutshell. All right. Your order has completed. Space Marine.
Let's do something over here. Oh,
Dominate.
Yeah, dominate. Well, you can do my to the Emperor, so we can switch the Emperor here.
For a material. You spend a material to do that.
Oh yeah. Oh, well done
And
one.
you recover, and that's that.
That's it.
Eldar.
Well, I will actually advance.
Advance.
So, every ships first.
Ships move first.
So I'll leave that there, then I'll move that troop there.
So only from one system.
Oh, only from one system.
Yeah. So you have a choice. If you want.
I'll just do that.
Excellent. Great. So that's your advance order. Go ahead and recover.
I only have one token, so I'm going to spend that, which is advance. So I'm going to advance from here to here. How does this work then?
That's legal.
That's legal? Yeah, because you've got a ship here, so that's fine.
That's a bridge. Excellent.
So you're
I can actually start
So
a combat orc to strike.
So
Now, I'm just saying, I like Marines, but I like big guns better, so I like to.
So,
Yeah.
we'll roll back. That's an advance order. If you resolve an advance order, but do not cause a combat, you can instead issue an orbital strike if you have a ship and an adjacent planet with enemies. So, for example, you could do that. There's no combat. There is a ship. And an orbital strike is look at the dice that you would roll in combat, choose an adjacent planet with enemies, roll the dice, and each bolter is a hit. There's no defense roll, there's no card play. It's just one shot, roll your dice, soften them up. Yeah, on roll. So, if that is either way, you can either move in and attack,
Even ask. Flowers or anything.
Good choice.
Straight in with an order.
I would honestly orbital strike, move there, and then next turn you can. I know, I can't.
Beautiful miniatures weren't on the
I'll be
table
honest,
right now.
the drawback of letting this go is
Yeah, I have to dominate afterwards, that's the thing.
and you lose your path.
Yeah. So I think,
Yeah, they are pretty cool.
strike just for the
All right.
funsies.
Orbital bombardment.
It reminds me of an old specialist GW game that they used to do.
Always on the big ones.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll let you know how no result. So no result. The orcs were hiding. Excellent. Orc.
Right, okay. That's it now. You've started something.
You start.
Yeah. I'm going to finish it. No. Stuff that.
Oh, that's
Yeah. That one. Yes, please.
Strategize. Strategize is how you customize your deck. Yep, and normally you can both, if you chose to, you could both buy a pair to replace in combat and or purchase an order upgrade.
Okay.
I didn't include these because it's a demo and this is so much more information, right? But and actually, it's not that. It's this. I apologize. It's this deck.
Right, okay.
But if you look in the top left corner of those upgraded orders, you see a command level requirement and you see material cost. So at the very start of the game, with no cities, there's likely only a single card that you can choose to upgrade.
So we're at command level 0 basically.
What's that?
0 we're at.
We're at 0.
So I've got 2.
Okay, awesome. But once you upgrade, it stays face up next to you, and that order is now more effective.
Do I place this one out then that I want?
Yes, if you spend the material, then you put it face up next to your board so you know.
Yeah, so I'm going to spend the material. Okay.
And what is does this do?
It's looting. During the orbital strike, gain 1 dice, and you may spend 1 die of your choice to gain 1 material and force your opponent to lose 1 material. Limit 1 per round.
So you need ships first, because orcs don't start with ships.
Right.
But in the future, with ships, you can actually loot, literally take material from your opponent, and that's not bad. Awesome.
It's the orc way.
Now, the last thing, this token, it relates to cards, and so it actually goes on the back of this deck. Right. At the end of the round, you're going to be able to draw a number of cards equal to tokens, and this deck has all sorts of good things for you. Right? So, that's just a reminder. Marines.
Well,
Advance! Advance! We're gonna go like this!
Whoa.
That is not legal.
oh no!
So,
I've got no ship, have I?
this is the... I don't remember. There's Steeds and Tactics. I don't remember the name of the deck. May I have the rules reference, please? Event cards. Yep.
I haven't got a ship to help me, so I need that in there, don't I?
So you can move. So you can move the ship in orbital strike.
Yeah, we can do a bit of that. I think an orbital strike seems
Do it.
sensible.
So that's an event. So actually, I will show you. Now that we know that this deck is something you draw from, if you ever reveal an order and realize I made a mistake or conditions have changed, or now I'm going to try a different strategy, you could opt not to resolve it and instead just put it on top.
And then have the option for a card.
Right? And it'll let you
That's
draw
good.
it.
Got that, you know.
So you always get something,
So it's
beneficial.
some sort of comeback on it.
Your choice.
Well, we would send the boys in.
That is actually good.
We do that, of course, and then we can do a
Orbital bombardment.
So obviously, after resolving other people's turns, things are going to change. So it might not necessarily be in your benefit to do it, but instead of a waste of like a move and a token, you can still then use it at the end.
And that deck is filled with great things.
Yeah.
And it's again unique to each faction. How many dice do you roll in combat?
2.
Go ahead and roll looking for bolters.
No, 1.
1. So 1 point of damage.
Yeah, that's it. Always have 1.
Only takes 1, so it is destroyed. There you go.
Success.
All right. Well, Eldar. Strategize.
So I will spend the 2.
You can spend 2, right? That's 2 material.
to get the Corsair.
Do you have a city? And
Yes,
you do.
I
Excellent.
do. I built
Good
a city.
So, Corsair Raid, the advance order has now forever changed for the Eldar. You can both advance
And if I resolve, basically, when I resolve a combat, when I resolve a disorder, I make for one orbital strike in the active system.
so combat and an orbital strike. That's
Yes.
decent.
Quite handy.
And now this.
You really should rock and roll on that.
So this then sits on the back of the card because it'll give you a draw. Chaos.
Just go fifth, right?
You have one more.
I have one more.
order.
One more.
Dominate.
Can I dominate?
Do you
Which are-
control any
I
planets?
seem to. So I have that one.
But it has no red
I
seals.
thought the 2 was that.
That is that you will get every planet. So at the end of the round, everyone will gain that. It is only the red seal.
Well, in that case, I'm gonna.
Absolutely. Right? Of course.
I think I've done the same thing. So I think if I remember, I've got a dominate, but I haven't got anything in there,
Correct.
so it would just go.
So you can put it on top, and now you will draw 2 and choose 1, which is better than drawing 1 and taking it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
You can only
that's the
draw
end
in.
of-
You can only draw 1 per turn.
1 per token.
1 per token. Right. But
And we'll see this. We'll see this in a moment. And I'll explain.
you just said you draw 2 and choose 1.
Because she has 2 tokens.
Yes.
1 from a strategized order, and 1 from an order she chose not to resolve.
Right, so strategize lets you pick more, but the other ones just let you draw more and keep the same.
You'll only ever resolve 1 card, but if you have 2 tokens, you'll draw 2. You'll choose which one you keep.
So you don't keep these in your hands.
No. We'll see them. We'll see them just now. So that's the end of the order phase. I'm sorry, of the resolution phase.
Yeah.
The last is we would step through, and let's we'll do this quickly. Number 1, collect material. Look at all the planets on which that you control and add that to your dial.
So I get 4.
So you don't control that.
Oh, I don't know, so I get 1, 3.
2, 3.
I get 4.
2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4.
I'm guessing do I control that?
Yes, you do. So 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
3.
So back up to 6
Right, so
then.
you add back to your dial. Now, do you notice these tokens?
I was going to say
What are these tokens? This is how you win.
Okay.
So what we do now is, if you are on a planet with, those are called objective tokens.
Yeah.
If you're on a planet with one of your objective tokens, you would now claim it. The first player to claim 4 in a 4-player game, if you claim 4, wins the game.
I can see how it is. So that's pretty much preloading the game to areas you're going to want to have to take.
Yes, and
That's why I'm trying to get
your opponent places your tokens. You never get to, so they're always going to be in.
How do you choose where you start?
At the time the board is built, at the very start, everyone has 3 tiles. The tiles are double-sided, and one at a time, you're going to place a tile. You're going to choose if you want to deploy some or all of your units, and then you will distribute your enemy's objective tokens.
You don't even start on one tile. You can start everywhere on the board.
It is better to start at least in 2 places, because otherwise you're going to be struggling to your tokens.
But in most games like this, you start on your home planet and expand out.
That's not true. What is interesting, for the demo, I tried to get you a little bit in, so there's a little bit of action, but in the game, you have starting forces. There's a handful. It's actually what I have on the board. And so you have these meager forces, but you really need to get them out there.
It accelerates the game.
When you think of like 40k, you have a deployment zone, so you're starting in that area.
I don't even throw in 40k. You don't in war in 40k. You don't just go, okay, we'll mark this planet here. It's just like, well, we'll go straight in. We'll drop in. But what I like is I'm a huge fan. What I like here is far too many weekends. Awesome. But my one hang-up, I suppose, with it is that you spend 2 hours actually getting into the system. But with that, that's really good.
This starts in the middle. Conflict is imminent. The last thing, after the board and deployment and the tokens have been placed, each player places 1 warp storm anywhere. And so you have that last moment of, I didn't expect to be next to you, so you sort of, for 1 round, you get a brief break and you take a breath. It does the tension at the start of the game for this is fantastic. So, okay, you collect objectives, and now, starting with first player, do you have any tokens on the back? No. So you won't get the benefit, but you have to draw the top card, and now look at the warp storm movement. Choose 1 warp storm that hasn't moved, and none of them have moved, and you have to move it in that direction. So you can move it by exactly one tile and laterally. They cannot overlap, and you can't fly off the board. So you choose one.
So I can take that.
Okay, and we'll flip it upside down. So that we know.
That's a good idea.
So that gets shuffled back. So do you have any tokens?
Yes, 1.
So you draw, you will actually get the benefit, and then you move the warp storm.
So I have in any case, but I only get the benefit of having tokens. So I get to purchase 1 combat upgrade, reducing its cost by 1 for each friendly world containing a city.
Alright. So there are tactics and schemes, and you'll see it declares what the card is. Tactic occurs immediately, a scheme remains in play for the round, and it describes it. So for this,
it was purchase 1 combat upgrade, reducing its material cost by 1 for each friendly world containing a city. So I have 1 city build.
And these are combat upgrades. So out of turn, he's going to be able to buy a combat upgrade and reduce the cost by every city that he controls. And that would happen now. So you can look at those, even though. So then, before you look, you would have to 1 warp storm that hasn't moved counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise. So every case of potentially,
you can do this way, or this way, or that way. So you pick a corner and you pin, and you just. clockwise by 90 degrees.
This is terrible because none of these storms work.
Beautiful. So
This is terrible.
I'm not saying they have to survive in this one.
Make it work for me. So if it benefits me, do that.
I don't want that because he's going to come steamrolling at me.
I wouldn't.
Protection.
Why would I do such a thing?
it's a tough decision, but
Yeah.
we're just about this one on here.
I think I'll have to do it that way, that way.
Oh, excellent. So you have
Well, that actually spun it up a bit.
So you gain a benefit. Is it a scheme or a tactic? Scheme will remain in play. It describes this. So
When our prime minister walks, somebody discard this card to prevent that movement and instead move that one side in any of the 8 directions.
So, no one heard you, but that card is excellent.
I know, I can
I
see
have,
how
I can hear you.
I have used that to my opponent's dismay to keep her. She was going to win, and I was drawing that card every round, and I was blocking her, blocking her. All right, so move your clockwise.
So clockwise,
And there's only 2 options. And you can go on this edge, by the way. You can.
oh, you can do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I'm gonna have to shoot off now because I need to beat him.
Is that a good idea?
Great, yeah.
Thank you very much. When did that you put that? About a month and a half. Just started, just leaving the factory. Yes, it is. Take care.
I'm gonna put it back.
Here?
Oh, sorry, no, it's clockwise.
Oh, it's clockwise.
No, I've got that.
Oh, yeah, you can do this. Yeah, you can go here.
No, I can't. Yeah, sorry, it's clockwise. Yes, I'll leave that there, please.
All right. And Orcs, so now you draw 2 cards, and you can choose which one of the 2 you want to gain benefit, as
So
well
is it
as
from the top or just like
from the top. This will, sometimes the effect is what you want, sometimes it's the warp storm movement that is most important. Either way, you get to choose one of those 2 cards and make use of it. And in a nutshell, that's a giant nutshell. That's
A giant bolter-ridden nutshell.
We've seen actually the games. We haven't looked at criteria.
But that's the sort of thing you just have to adapt.
Just to the concept on that.
okay, so I choose one, yeah?
Yep.
Doing this for a bit of the warp storm action and just the general one. It's a scheme.
Yeah.
Place this card in your play area and discard all of your other schemes. I haven't got any.
Okay.
When purchasing a unit, you may discard this card to reduce the material cost of that unit by 1 for each reinforcement tokens you have.
Excellent. So now, when you dominate, you might want to start accumulating reinforcement tokens, both for defensive in combat or for cheaper cost.
And then that means I can move it. Is it? So I was
Either
going
here or there.
I was going to move it there, so that kind of like means that he has to come to me if he wants to
Yes, he
move.
does.
Bring it on.
Sunk my battleship. No.
Now, unfortunately, and I will show you, those are combat upgrade cards. Unfortunately, that will be the end of the demo. Do you have questions?
Why is that meant to be that horrible a card to get?
Horrible for your enemies?
Yeah, basically. Why wouldn't it be horrible for me? Why would a horrible card? That seems absolutely
Gains the
atrocious.
dice if you have more skill than your opponent throughout all of his command level 0 units. Yeah, so it's a 6 material cost, 3 commands.
Yeah, of course. So it's the end of the game.
It's late
But
game.
it's
Oh yeah.
stupid.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. That's tight. So you say, but they all have terrible cards. But they are very different. That's very.
When will this be available to purchase in the UK?
1.5 months is what I was told. Just right in summer.
So now you've got me hooked on it. I've now got to wait 1.5 months.
I have been waiting already for almost 2 months. The pre-order is placed. So if you enjoy the demo in a loud area with me barking at you, you will enjoy playing this with your friends or your enemies over a couple hours. It's really great.
UK is where it started. before I even touched on board gaming.
Yeah.
That's how I got into sort of hobbyist games. Because I live in Nottingham, so we have the Games Workshop headquarters.
I'll be there on Monday.
Really? That's it then. I'll be down there.
Fantastic. Yeah, this.
We'll have a drink in Bugman's.
I love it. It plays so well at the start that all the choices that you have when you deploy, it's just like, oh my god, and you don't even know where the board will be. So being first player at deployment is horrible, because I don't know if I'll be in the corner or will I be in the middle, and so you're trying to react.
It means like the variation of the gameplay is always going to change.
Yeah,
So the replayability aspect of
these
things.
are all double-sided and different, and you're looking at paths of planets, and you realize, for example, here at deployment, I'm like, oh, look at how easily you can just march from planet to planet to planet, and once you notice it, you can start to develop a strategy for ground units and